Joan getting all kinds of photographs.
Yeah.
Mount Juliet, Gallatin, I think a few other places as well. Mount Juliet. And by and large, most people are saying that there are fewer cars in the parking lots, from what I can tell. And if you want to keep the pictures coming, feel free. I don't know. I do get a sense that the WTN audience, WTN Nation, they're a little bit over the Cracker Barrel talk at this point, and I don't want to belabor the point more than it's already been belabored.
Yeah.
So whatever. I mean, if you happen to drive by a Cracker Barrel, give us a report on whether or not the parking lot is heavier or not as busy as it usually is. And, we'll let folks know. I do find the whole thing interesting.
I'm still going to take a drive by mine, the one near me, on the way home and check it out.
Yes, I will as well. I'm not going to stop there. Hey, so you want to hear people's heads explode from the other side of the radio?
Yeah.
I'll go to Cracker Barrel, but I'm not going to eat there, but I'll go to Cracker Barrel after I go to Starbucks, Comic Coffee. People are going to yell at me now over the.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are you going to Starbucks for, Mandis? Don't you know they're woke?
They're woke and they're...
Do you know what's so funny, though? I go to the same one literally every single day.
I know.
And there's nothing in there where there's some closet conservatives that are in there. You know what I mean? I mean, I've never noticed anything woke. I saw a bunch of cops in there one time, and we're all talking about... They recognized me, so we're talking about stuff in there. And they were very appreciative of Starbucks. I don't want to do a commercial for Starbucks, but I think that the woke aspect of Starbucks, I think that it was short-lived, and I think they got the message. And now I just don't believe that they are as woke as either they used to be or people perceive them to be. The only thing that irritates the living crap out of me in Starbucks is they keep trying to give me they're very like planet-oriented, as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And so they keep trying to give me like a cup that is like an actual cup, like not a plastic cup or not a cardboard cup.
Like a reusable?
Yeah.
I call those collectors.
I don't like the reusable cups. I like the ones where I could just throw them in the trash because for some reason I like the to-go cups more than the reusable, even though I'm sitting there at Starbucks. That's the only thing that I don't like, and I do
they
feel...
allow you do they have a fully stocked condiment bar now, or do you still have to get your condiments from the person behind the counter?
Fully stocked condiment bar.
Good.
So I can get
bugged
all
me
my...
since COVID. Gosh.
I was actually an official complainer on that, by the way. I did send an email to their corporate office.
Good. It's just
It was
ridiculous.
a strongly worded letter, and I said, can you people get over it, please?
Yeah. Good.
Anyway. And here's the deal. Like, I see people that see me and engage me in conversation in Starbucks all the time. Like a lot of listeners go to Starbucks. I'm just telling you. So,
well, I think that Starbucks also, they got into a slump.
Yeah, they did.
Last year before. So they brought in a new CEO.
Yep.
They started to change the way they're doing things. And I think that maybe they got it, and it may not be because of a backlash from conservatives, but their finances started to fall, and you can just follow the money trail.
Here's what I'm going to tell you, is that I did stop going to Starbucks because of the service. Mm-hmm. This was a big deal. And the head honchos over there at Starbucks, they noticed that was a big issue. So you know what I immediately noticed when I read, okay, they're going to stock up on people behind the counter.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the last time I had to wait a long period of time for a cup of coffee.
Good.
In other words, they made the changes that were angering people.
Yes.
And you don't have, the baristas trying to engage you in some sort of a political discussion, which is something that was going on.
Right.
Well, a couple of years ago, they didn't come out and say it, and they didn't blatantly put it out there, but they pulled their Pride stuff, and they pulled the Pride displays out of the Starbucks.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, back in 2023.
See, I never noticed a Pride. They did that at Target, of course, but I never noticed the Pride stuff to begin with. Maybe that's in some of the more woke cities or states.
It was kind of a response when they saw how Target was getting handled. They were like, "Oh, we don't want that."
Yeah.
I don't think has Robbie Starbuck gone after Starbucks? I don't think he has. His latest victim, of course, is Cracker Barrel, which we talked about last week. But
and I don't think that the statement Cracker Barrel released is going to make that go away any easier.
I don't either. I feel like they're instead of acknowledging that there's some like people don't like what they've done, they're pushing back on it. Here's why we did what we did. Well, we don't want to hear why you did what you did. We want our old Cracker Barrel back.
Well, and then they had the gall at the end of it to say that Uncle Herschel wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Yeah.
That's gonna...
Isn't Uncle Herschel dead?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the founder.
How dare they?
And
my goodness.
He was the old-timer in the logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And that is actually horrifying to me. That makes it worse.
Well, and another line in there that the font is ridiculously small. They're talking about how they want to have the games on the tables, and that's not going to change. You change the wording.
They changed the wording,
Yeah.
and they misspelled the word embarrass.
So I think it's going to have the same kind of longevity as Bud Light until people forget about it. Which you can't now that you see it, and it's literally whitewashed.
Well, here's
country living Martha Stewart crappy decor.
Yes.
It just looks like, I'm telling you, when I say that it looks like an IHOP, it looks like an IHOP.
Yes, it does.
So,
I think it began, I'm no prude about this, but I think it began with the whole bringing alcohol into a Cracker Barrel. There was no need for that. Like, that's not what you expect when you go into a Cracker Barrel.
well, I'm going to say that I was pleasantly surprised at mimosas. I'm just going to tell you.
Mimosas make sense,
Yeah.
kind of,
I mean, it's an odd fit, but I mean, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I ordered some. They're actually very good.
Yeah.
But the decor and all that kind of stuff. And I get what you're saying, Joan, but when you have the Wokeratis up at the top within Cracker Barrel, which, Robbie Starbuck exposed and we all suspected, then they're going to do what they're going to do. And they did it. And now they are facing that backlash. And as you guys said, they put out a statement. How long is the statement? Is it long?
It's 4 pages, right?
No, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
The one I think I texted it to you.
Yeah.
It's 1 page. I mean, it's really small font.
But people aren't digging.
Oh, no.
the statement.
No,
which they
Dr.
made.
Carol Swain over there, Vanderbilt Law, posted it on her Instagram and was like, really, this is the response? She was criticizing it. It's just like a half-done, we're sorry, but we're not going to say it.
Do you know
We're
what the
still
funny
gonna stand
thing
by
is on this? The funny thing is that they put out the statement, clearly not satisfactory for people who are fans of Cracker Barrel, and they're angry about it. They put the new logo at the bottom of the...
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and by the way, here's the new logo, so stick it.
And I love how they sign it with the company name, and the person who drafted this did not want to put their name to it.
Hey, by the way, Joan, I got some hate mail regarding you.
Uh-oh, not again.
It's from the guy that is really particularly vile, so I'm gonna get your permission before I read it.
Yeah, okay.
Because for once, his ire was pointed at you.
Really?
Well, not for once. He's taken you out before. Oh. Not for coffee, but I mean, he's
a
said
serial
negative things.
taker-outer? Okay.
He's a serial taker-outer of me and Joan. He hasn't come after Sam yet, but Sam, your time will come.
Then you know you've made it when this guy takes you
That's
out.
exactly right.
I'll frame it. I'll put it on my fridge and everything.
All right, we got to go. Let's see here. Chicago. Let's start here with Chicago. And this is still a very big story this morning. And Stephen Miller, Chicago and all these other towns and cities and states that are, operating right now under the threat of National Guard coming into their city, they all are saying the same thing, which is, but our crime stats, they're really not that bad. Listen to what Stephen Miller had to say about this and how they are altering and manipulating crime stats. Again, this is Stephen Miller yesterday, in the Oval Office.
And the President spoke about this before. We've uncovered, in the process of uncovering, a massive scandal in Washington, D.C. with the doctoring of crime stats. And the Department of Justice, under the Attorney General, is leading the effort to uncover this. But when we ultimately share the results, it will stun you. The extent to which, even though D.C. had the worst crime in America, honestly measured, it dramatically understated how bad it was. There's even accusations that murders and homicides were reported as accidents instead of murders. I mean, this is how severe the manipulation of the crime data has been in the city, and it will all be uncovered and it will all be brought to light. I've had a chance to spend some time, as did everyone here, with the police officers in the city. Members of the public are going up to them and thanking them, just overflowing with gratitude.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely right. And Instagram and TikTok are full of folks that are talking about how much they absolutely love the National Guard being in Washington, D.C. Strange, by the way, isn't it, about the manipulation of statistics that the Democrats are doing, the crime stats, kind of like they did with COVID.
I was about to say, the COVID deaths that were car accidents.
Yes. Guy gets decapitated with a motorcycle accident. Oh, he died of COVID. You know what I mean?
Or they had terminal cancer and
yes,
it exacerbated it, so the COVID killed him.
It's what the Democrats do. And Stephen Miller, of course, is absolutely right. It is interesting with the situation going on in Chicago and whether or not the president will be sending the National Guard into Chicago. And I want to play this video for you. And it's one of my favorites of the day for a number of different reasons. But it's a guy, and he is in Chicago. You do have the governor of Illinois, J.D. Do you think anybody picked up on my mistake that I made earlier about J.D. Pritzker? Do you think anybody picked up on that, Joan?
You said he went on a diet or something?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Nobody heard it? Okay. I may have accidentally called it J.D. Pritzker. I may have replaced that T with a CK.
Oh.
So this guy is in Chicago, and he definitely disagrees with the mayor of Chicago and Brandon Johnson and J.D. Pritzker about what's going on in Chicago.
The National Guard has to come here, even if it's for a scare tactic. They have to come here. There's no control. There's no law and order. The National Guard has to come here, even if it's for a scare tactic. They have to come here. There's no control. There's no law and order. The National Guard.
So I said that's a guy, and Sam says that's a lady. I don't think that's a lady, dude. I think
Steven Tyler, dude looks like a lady.
That
sounds like one. That's what I'm getting.
Okay, but it could be a guy with a high voice like me.
And a
you
baby
still sound
smooth
like
face.
a guy.
Yeah, well, some would say Joan. Anyway, moving on. So, but you heard what she had to say. Now you got me all, I don't know what it is. Anyway, this person said about crime. Should we do a Daily Dan poll? Is this a man or a woman?
Yes.
Joan, what do you say? Are you on the super text line? Or no, are you watching me on YouTube or whatever?
I'm not watching you, but I hear this person and they look like it sounds like a woman to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
The National Guard has to come here, even if it's for a scare tactic. They have to come here.
All right, you know what this person's name is? Zoe. Z-O-E. Is that Zoe? Z-O-E?
Zoe.
Yeah.
Zoe? That can be a man or a woman, can't it?
No, that's a woman's name.
Yeah.
So did I misidentify this person?
I think so.
All right, cool.
It's not your fault.
Well,
What are you letting go
I'm the
off
one
for?
that did it, so whatever. Anyway, we got to go. It is 7:22. This segment has not turned out the way that I wanted it to turn out. But we do have more coming from the city of Chicago. J.D. Pritzker had a lot to say regarding Donald Trump. We are going to get into that and a whole lot more straight ahead. Super text line is open. Joan, are people sending in their pictures of Cracker Barrel this morning?
They are. A lot of people.
And what are they saying? Are they saying it's a lot less busy?
Yes. And, yes, they are. But I'm just wondering if this is if this is an actual, this is sort of anecdotal because it's people that listen to us and they're probably going to show us pictures that are with less cars in the parking lot.
Right. So. They are going to, it's, what is it? Affirmation bias? Is that what they say?
Yes.
Yeah. So I generally just want to know the truth. Like I just want to know the truth because I was a little sus of the photos that showed that there were only 2 cars in the parking lot at 4:00 in the afternoon. I was a little suspicious about that. So I just want to know. That's all I want to do. My problem is I never really go to Cracker Barrel in the first place.
Yeah.
So, him, she. Sally says, call that person him, she.
Him, she.
Him, she. Sounds like a piece of sushi. Him, she. So Rocco says this, and then we're going to move on. I don't know if on the super text line, very active today, people are texting in their photos of Starbucks and not Starbucks. I'm talking about Starbucks with Sam off the air, but of Cracker Barrel. And by and large, I mean, we got Dixon, we got Gallatin, we got several from Mount Juliet, one in Nashville, and they're just coming in. Everybody is telling us that it is Cracker Barrel has fewer cars than it usually does. Do you know what I would love to do? I don't know how to confirm this, but Sam, take the phones off hold.
All right. People have actually been asking for this, so I'm glad you're doing it.
If you are an employee of Cracker Barrel, if you are an employee of Cracker Barrel, I want you to call right now. We don't have the technology because it wasn't in the budget, but tell us your experience. Are there fewer people coming into Cracker Barrel than you've seen? Like, how was your work last weekend? If you're an employee of Cracker Barrel and you can do it, and I know you're going to tell the truth, tell us what's going on.
So I'm kicking the fans to the curb, right? It's strictly for employees.
The fans to the curb?
Yeah, the fans of Cracker Barrel that want to call in and complain about it.
All I want to know is from the employees.
Gotcha.
I don't know how to verify that these folks are actually employees, but I'm just curious. If you're an employee of Cracker Barrel, call us and let us know what it's been like.
I'll ask them how many stars are on their apron. You know about that? They have a rating system.
No, but don't say it here because you got to ask them, when they call in. 615-737-9986. Of course, they're probably working right now, Joan.
Yes.
But anyway, people are sending in photos, and it does look like Cracker Barrel is not doing as well as they once were if you listen to the people that are texting in photographs. Now, a couple of other things real quick. I like what Rocco said about my voice, by the way, Joan, the guy that said, wait, you mean that Dan is not a lady?
Yeah.
Rocco says, I'm just joshing with you, Dan, judging by your voice. I did not think Dan was short for Danielle. Your voice, though higher pitched than most, is the voice of an alpha male. Every syllable oozes toxic masculinity.
Wow, that was a big flip.
Need a T-shirt now that says every syllable oozes toxic masculinity.
They got to put that on a promo for me. You know what I mean? Have the guy that actually has the masculine voice, like the big announcer for the station.
Yeah.
Maybe have him do it. Anyway, moving right along. Chicago is still an absolute train wreck. Let's get back into what is going on in Chicago because J.D. Pritzker is out there. And part of what's going on in Chicago is the residents of Chicago are asking for this. A lot of them are asking for this. This was Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Now, you know who he is, right? Brandon Johnson is a guy who is very, very left, incredibly left. And he is out there and he is screaming. All of the leaders of Chicago are out there going after Donald Trump. You know what's amazing to me is that they are so passionate about Donald Trump not sending the National Guard into Chicago. Can I ask a question? Why don't they get this passionate about stopping the killings? I'll wait. This is Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago.
Instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars for a publicity stunt to invoke chaos and terror, the federal government should spend that money on proven solutions to crime and violence reduction. We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
All right, so that is Brandon Johnson, and there is no doubt that violence is a problem in Chicago, no matter what they say or how they try to skew the numbers. Now, one of the questions is, and by the way, there is a happy medium in these folks with this, as Brandon Johnson said, this addiction to jailing people, this addiction to incarceration. We have flipped way the other way. You know what I mean? Like sending somebody, I forget all the examples of people that have spent a lot of time in jail for basically pot, but Now we have gone so far the other way where you can literally assault someone or steal $1,000 worth of stuff and not get charged a crime. So there is such a thing as an addiction to not holding people accountable, and that is what's going on. That's why Chicago and other cities like Chicago, New York, Washington, D.C., that is why they have so much crime, because they've got this addiction to not charging people that really should be charged. So again, they've gone way the other way, and it is definitely a problem. And the more that they continue to not hold people accountable, the worse it is going to get. Here is more from Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
We cannot return to the same failed strategies that got us here in the first place. Under the previous presidential administration, we requested more federal resources to address gun violence in our city. We continue to make that same call. We have made significant progress on our own. But there is so much more that we can do if we had real support from the federal government.
So you have told, though, Brandon Johnson, that you don't want the federal government to come into Chicago. Now, again, is it legal for Trump to send in the National Guard? It depends on who you ask. This is one of those situations that'll go through the courts. There are laws that limit what the president can do if a governor takes exception to the National Guard being used in his state. Then all he can do is protect federal assets and employees, including ICE agents. That's it. But if Trump uses the Insurrection Act of 1807, that would permit the president to use military members in an American city to quell what they say an insurrection or domestic violence. But Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul pushed back on that idea forcibly in his remarks, saying there is no emergency in the state of Illinois that requires the National Guard. There's no foreign invasion. There's no rebellion, he said. He also called the president's plans an offense to the sovereignty of our state and the sovereignty of states at large, and he will resist all of this in court. And we do have some comments from the governor for the state of Illinois, J.D. Pritzker, of course, the governor for the state of Illinois. And all of the, as I mentioned before, all of the leaders in Chicago were out in force going after Donald Trump. And, you know, what's interesting is Trump hasn't even, officially announced that he is going to go into Chicago. And so like many, many things that Donald Trump does, he has basically forced J.D. Pritzker to come out and say that he doesn't want law enforcement coming in to stop crime. Or as I said yesterday, Donald Trump is literally saving lives, especially a lot of black lives in Washington, D.C. He wants to do the same thing in Chicago. And you've got the leaders there saying, oh, no, we don't need your help. By the way, 5 seconds. It took me 5 seconds this morning to find this statistic. As of 2025, Chicago has a crime rate of 40 per 1,000 residents. That is the highest in America. Yet the governor doesn't want Trump's help.
To tell the president that his proposed actions will make our jobs harder and the lives of our residents worse. Earlier today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump looked at the assembled cameras and asked for me personally to say, Mr. President, can you do us the honor of protecting our city? Instead, I say, Mr. President, do not come to Chicago.
Golf clap, golf clap.
You are neither wanted here nor needed here. Your remarks about this effort over the last several weeks have betrayed a continuing slip in your mental faculties and are not fit for the auspicious office that you occupy.
Is that what we're doing
Most
now?
alarming, you seem to lack any appropriate concern as our commander-in-chief for the members of the military that you would so callously deploy as pawns in your ever more alarming grabs for power.
All right, so that is J.D. Pritzker.
It's just clownery by Pritzker. That whole speech was just buffoonery.
Over the weekend, we had 6 people killed and 27 hurt in shootings in Chicago.
That were reported, at least.
That were reported. And so now, of course, part of what Donald Trump is doing is he is bringing attention to the crime in these cities. And if you think about it, that's actually really smart, because ultimately Trump is playing them like a fiddle. That is what it seems to me. One of the things that I would say also, and I mentioned this earlier, is that he may not even be dreaming of sending in the National Guard. But what he is doing is he is making the Democrats embrace crime. That's the crazy part of all of this, is that he's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go try to fight crime and make your city better and make your cities better. And ultimately, that means the Democrats are forced, and this is what I love, the Democrats are forced to go against crime fighting. That is crazy. I love what J.D. Vance had to say about all of this. This was in the Oval Office.
Look at Governor Pritzker in Illinois, or Governor Newsom in Los Angeles, or Governor Moore in Maryland. They are angrier about the fact that the President of the United States is offering to help them get their crime under control than they are about the fact that murderers are running roughshod over their cities and have been for decades. Why are Democrat governors angrier about federal law enforcement helping clean up their streets than they are about the fact that those streets need to be cleaned up to begin with?
Yep.
It shows a real sickness in the head. And I agree with the President of the United States. I think most Democrats, rank and file, nobody likes crime. Republicans don't like crime. Democrats don't like crime. Independents don't like crime. Why are Democratic governors doing everything in their power to make crime easier to do in their cities? It doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. But, Mr. President, I appreciate you being willing to help. And I hope these governors take you up on the offer, because we should clean up all of America's streets. It's the right of every American to live in safety and comfort in their community.
You know what I like about that is that the president literally threw it to J.D. Vance to talk about J.B. Pritzker. That's what I love, because people are saying that old J.B. there, I keep mixing up J.D. and J.B. So J.B. Pritzker, there's talk that he may be running for the presidency in 2028. And I like how President Trump said, JD, what do you think about this? And he just unleashes on these various governors and mayors as they try to prevent President Trump from trying to save lives, many of them black. Yet somehow Donald Trump is a racist. Got it.